today's news, woman arrested and released on suspicion of money laundering. Virgin Gorda centenarian passes away at 101 years. Perline Scatliffe-Leonard will be running in the 7th District as an independent, VI far off from achieving independence, says Dr. Pickering. But viewers, these and more stories when 284 News return.
There are many ways to enjoy life, like so many ways to count on popular.
Welcome to the 103rd season of the NFL!
It's that time for the NFL playoffs every weekend with CCT Live, showing every game on CBS, NBC, ABC, and ESPN, including the Super Bowl. Sign up for CCT Live today.
There's no game like this game!
Well, welcome viewers to the Wednesday, February 8th edition of 284 News. I am Kamal Haynes, bringing you the latest out of the British Virgin Islands. Well, leading today's news, an unidentified female was arrested and later released on suspicion of money laundering on Tuesday, February 8th. The Royal Virgin Islands Police Force confirmed the arrest in a media release earlier today, stating that they executed an additional 3 search warrants and arrested the female on suspicion of money laundering yesterday as part of ongoing investigations into human trafficking in the territory. But the police said the female was subsequently released pending further investigations, adding that they can make no further comment on the matter. But the RVIPF also encouraged residents to contact Crime Stoppers anonymously through its tip line 800-8477, or if overseas, call the area code 1284-800-8477 if there is suspected human trafficking or you are a victim of the modern-day slavery. Or persons with information are also asked to call the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force directly through its 3-digit access number, that is 311. Well, on to some sad news, viewers, where centenarian Mrs. Otelia Stephen of the Valley Virgin Gorda, who recently celebrated her 101st birthday, has passed away. Well, Stevens passed away last evening, Tuesday, February 7th, 2023. Well, Stevens, who was originally from East End Tortola, migrated to Virgin Gorda once married. In an invited comment by our agency, 9th District Representative Honorable Vincent O. Wheatley reflected on the life, legacy, and contributions of Stevens.
I was truly saddened to hear of the passing of Miss Otelia Stevens, as we affectionately call her. I've known her all my life. As a young child, I lived not too far from her, and being the only family in the neighborhood with a TV, we all naturally gravitated towards her house to watch roller derby or whatever the picture of the day was. I've always known to be a very hard-working, quiet, and extremely generous person. She looks after her family and anyone who needed help. And this she did without any kind of fuss or even compensation. She was the last of a set of Eastern women who traveled to Virgin Gorda and married Virgin Gorda men. I remember persons like Miss Aina, who married to Mr. Gerald Walters, Miss Ilva, who married to Mr. Edgar Walters, even her sister, Miss Violet, who married to Alexander Stevens. There were some notable men as well who came from East End and married into Virgin Gorda, such as Mr. Charles Penn, Mr. Excelman Fred. Well, she was the last of that set of persons who came from East End back then.
Wheatley said Mrs. Stevens will be missed by all.
She lived a long, productive life. She looked after her family, she cared for them, she loved them, and they in turn looked after her, cared for her. She was the glue that kept the families together. An extremely nice person. I will sincerely miss her. I bring condolences to her immediate family and her extended family. May her soul rest in peace.
A former director of the Water and Sewage Department, Mrs. Perline Scatliffe-Leonard, has announced her candidacy for the 7th Electoral District. Well, Scatliffe-Leonard made the announcement during a press conference this morning that was held in Fat Hogs Bay, East End. She said there have been attempts for several years by many to get her to run for office, but believe that now is the time to make such a decision.
It has been a long road. We have been for a number of years now trying to get Perline on the scene that I'm about to place myself on. I am very passionate about OBVI. I am very passionate about nation building. My passion is big. So there's no doubt that what I intend to do is something that I know God is leading me to. I am very spiritual, I'm very spiritual. Whatever I do, I take it to the knees to make sure that my spirit is alive and my spirit feels calm with what I'm about to do.
The former director said her more than 3 decades in the public service has prepared her for what's to come in the life of politics.
I've been working with the civil service for 33 years. So last month, January 19th, 2023 would have been my 33rd year. So I have given much of my time, much of my years to the public service, and I have no regrets. I've seen everything. I've been through the thick and the thin. I've seen the pretty and the ugly. So I know I'm well prepared for what I'm about to do. When I got into the public service in 1990, I met with managers and permanent secretaries who I came up under, permanent secretaries who, work with integrity. They work with policies. They ensure that whatever was done within policies and regulations. So you could understand how some people would call it a stiff jacket I am for policies and procedures.
Well, Scatliffe-Leonard said she intends to approach her new path to politics with integrity, transparency, and accountability.
I sincerely hope that the people of District 7, over the course of the coming weeks, would accept me into their homes. I'm coming. So I am going to do my very best to answer all the questions that are out there. I know there are many questions, and I am prepared to answer them, honestly answer them, because that's who I am. Anybody who knows Perline knows that I'm straightforward, and sometimes, the straightforward is some persons don't like, but I always say that once you are straightforward and you're honest with that straightforward thinking or mannerism, things work out. Things may not work out in the beginning, but certainly somewhere along the line, or certainly at the very end of the line, everything will be good. So that is my mantra. Work with integrity, work with honesty, work with transparency, and hence why I actually had done a certification in governance and accountability, so that you get a greater understanding of what's expected of you.
Well, she also explained why she opted to run as an independent candidate as opposed to siding with an already established political party.
Over the years, though, I've seen where the parties have transformed, and as an independent candidate with certain, certain makeup, my integrity, my need to speak up when something is not in order. I find that with the party system now, persons are holding back to speak on behalf of the people. And I'll go back to Honorable T.D. Letson. I remember while he was in the House of Assembly, and he was on the government side, and anything that was being done within that party that he didn't like or he didn't agree with, he would stand up. He would stand up and speak on behalf of the people. of his district and of the territory. And that's the kind of representation we need in the BVI.
Well, Scatliffe-Leonard is now one of 3 candidates that will be contesting for District 7 in the upcoming election. Well, she joins the race that so far includes incumbent District Representative Premier Dr. the Honorable Natalia Wheatley and independent candidate Kevon Shak-Lexum. Well, up next, VI far off from achieving independence, says Dr. Pickering, and Police Act 2023 isn't going too far. Well, these and more stories after a word from our sponsors.
Is someone gonna get that?
Hello.
Hello. So nice of you to have cleaned up for us. Hi, baby.
We're like in-laws that don't show up unannounced.
Don't worry, I've got this.
CG Insurance. Good like that.
Catch Super Bowl 57 on CCT Live. Sign up today by calling 444-4444.
Is that my lunch? Is that my lunch?
We're like the coworker that doesn't eat your lunch.
I'm John. I'm John.
CG Insurance. Good like that.
Is business slow, cash flow down, hosting an upcoming event? We can help. Advertise with 284 Media and take your business or event to the next level by enhancing your present marketing and messaging strategies. Allow our team of experts to create a personalized ad that sets your business apart from all the rest. This could be your business or event. So, what are you waiting for? Contact our marketing team at 284media@cctbvi.com. Advertising with us works.
Hun, it's asking for your password.
Huh?
You were logged out. I need the password.
BR,
What's the rest?
BRANDI, the number 4, EVER?
Who's Brandy?
We're like the password that isn't your ex-girlfriend's name. CG Insurance. Good like that.
I should have changed it.
You should have.
You're right.
Well, welcome back, viewers. Well, former Deputy Premier at-large candidate Dr. Kedrick Pickering believes, despite recent discussions surrounding a territory onward march, the Virgin Islands is not anywhere close to achieving independence. Well, Dr. Pickering spoke during a recent guest appearance on the Umoja's talk show. Well, according to Pickering, while self-determination and independence is inevitable, there are key processes which must take place during that journey. Or processes he believes should have begun on the heels of the 2007 Constitution.
There are 3 issues happening in the BVI right now. There's the Constitutional Review Commission, there's the Commission of Inquiry and its recommendations, and then there's the issue of the debate with respect to self-determination. There are 3 separate issues, although they're related both directly and indirectly. What is important, and this is a point I continue to try to emphasize, is that after the 2007 Constitution, of which I was a member of the negotiating team, there were a number of things that should have been done. There were a number of steps that needed to be taken that would have put us on that road of self-determination and independence ultimately. If we had followed those protocols that had been established at that particular point in time, the discussion that we would be having right now would be more centered in terms of when are we going to raise our own flag at the UN. That's basically where we would have been. But we're not there yet. Because we haven't done the work that is necessary to put us on that road in a way that there's no turning back. And you just encouraging people to go to HLSC and get their education, etc. And it's a process. You don't go and sign up at HLSCC and you're going to get a diploma tomorrow. You have to go do some classes and you have to do some exams and you have to get past all of that. So it's a process.
Well, Pickering went on to map out how these processes should unfold moving forward.
the committee that now exists, that committee should have been ongoing. That should have been an ongoing process, a constitutional review commission that would continue to assess the views of the wider public and to have discussions on those issues from time to time that in itself was an educational process for the wider population. That whole process was supposed to be ultimately leading to a referendum where people could then determine whether or not it was time to make that final decision with respect to independence. And then there was a committee that was established. That committee was supposed to look at the costs of going towards independence, what it would take for the educational process, putting the institution in place, etc. That committee was actually set up by the late R.T. O'Neill, and Douglas Wheatley was chairman of that committee. And they did start some work, but it floundered, and the work was never really completed. That work was also a prerequisite and a forerunner to the whole exercise of leading to self-determination and ultimately to independence. And then a confluence of all those different issues taken together, along with constant political debate and educational processes, would have ultimately led us to a maturity that then we could have determined, look, it's time for us to make this final step.
Well, Pickering believes that throughout this journey, it is imperative that the Virgin Islands maintain its relationship with the United Kingdom. The condition of this relationship, he said, will be a determining factor of where the territory is headed.
Self-determination and independence are inevitable. It's not a question of if, it's just a question of when. You know, I've said in practically all of the public meetings at which I've spoken in the last couple of months, that our relationship with the United Kingdom matters. You know, irrespective of how you look at it, how you dissect it, how you analyze it, the relationship matters. It matters now, it matters yesterday, and it will matter tomorrow. Because irrespective of where we end up, we have to have relationships that are going to be beneficial to us one way or another. And we already have an established relationship with the United Kingdom. And how we build that relationship and ultimately enhance it is going to be in large measure a determinant of our future. Because, you know, and I use this term deliberately, the geopolitics that exists, we don't determine them, but we have to learn to play within the confines of them. And you can't go anywhere in life unless you're going to have relationships. So relationships matter, and relationship with the United Kingdom matter.
In regard to timelines, the simple answer, he said, is that there isn't one. He said that the length of the process will depend on how the Virgin Islands handles the necessary steps. But throughout this, he stressed that it is the responsibility of the territory's leaders to explain what is happening and why certain steps must be taken to the public.
Those of us who consider ourselves leaders, especially in the political arena, have a major responsibility to help to explain to our people exactly what it is we're up against. So it's not just a question of independence or not independence. It is a question of preparing ourselves for what is ultimately going to become necessary.
Attorney Daniel Davis recently paid a visit to our studio to discuss the concerns of the community and the legal fraternity surrounding the Police Act 2023. Where this bill will, among other things, heighten the authority of the police force by circumventing the need for the court approval for warrants and the gathering of evidence. Ron Grant explored the issue.
The highly controversial police bill, also known as the Police Act 2023, is back, and there is an attempt to pass this bill in one sitting. Now, the Police Bill 2023 essentially seeks to remove the involvement of the courts as it relates to obtaining biometric information, searching of private property, and seizure of property. Throughout the bill, we see the term reasonable grounds. This term is treated in law and as an objective test. In other words, what an ordinary person would think if they had all the information that a police officer had. Now, in obtaining warrants, the police are tasked with information, with information, the court of what their reasonable grounds are for the access, seizure of property and biometric information. Now, the court task is to consider whether such grounds are reasonable. By largely eliminating the need for warrants, this protection of the public is totally removed. This bill, if becomes legislation, effectively turns the Virgin Islands into a police state. I am today joined by attorney at law and member of the BVI Bar Association, Mr. Daniel Davies, to discuss a number of key areas of great concerns to the citizens of the Virgin Islands.
The fundamental issue that arises is that if you do not wish to give your DNA, or intimate samples, and just so the audience knows what intimate samples means, it means semen, pee, and that sort of thing. And if you don't provide that DNA or intimate sample upon request, it can be held against you essentially in court, because what the section says is that if you fail to give these samples upon request without a good cause, then the court or the jury can draw whatever inferences they wish from it, including negative inferences. It's quite scary because, firstly, we have a constitution. We have a constitutional right to privacy, and if you're not charged with anything, if you're not convicted of anything, that is to say you're acquitted of something, or if the prosecution decides they're not going to continue with the case, then why should your DNA or your biometric information like fingerprints, which can be, by the way, taken without a warrant and without consent, or footprints and so on and so forth, why should they remain on a government database? And yes, I understand that there is a necessity to solve crimes in the territory, but it's also the necessity to ensure persons' rights and privacy.
In addition to this, particularly when you look at the fact that police are or could be allowed with the passing of this bill to search people's dwelling without a warrant if they have reasonable grounds or for believing that a person does not live there or does not have permission to the ground. We mentioned in the introduction where this, and you could perhaps tell me if you agree or not, does this now not open the door for persons being tarnished, evidence being planted in that manner?
That is a grave concern that members of the criminal bar have expressed to me. That is a very real possibility.
But the Police Act 2023 is now available for review on the Virgin Islands official Gazette website, where the bill was published in an extraordinary issue of the Gazette number 13 dated 3rd of February 2023. Where the full interview with Mr. Davies is available across all 284 media platforms. Well, up next, local Kyra James making a name internationally, and Antigua Opposition calling for COI amid human trafficking concerns. But these stories when 284 News return.
Good morning. Good morning, Sonny boy. You must have cut fun people.
It's okay. I'll take care of it.
What? No man to take care of me.
How may I assist you?
Yes.
You want top of power?
You want top of power?
Join the prepaid party with CCT and enjoy more affordable data plans, more top-up promotions, more savings with hero bundles, and more value for your money each and every Tuesday with Top Up Turn Up Tuesday. Visit a CCT store today or anywhere CCT Top Up is sold and top up your phone.
5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. You want top of power?
Freeze. Choose your mix, choose your flavor.
Well, welcome back, viewers, and thank you so much for sticking with us. Well, Virgin Islander Kyra James continues to make the territory proud as she stamps her name on the international media scene as a content producer. Well, Kyra, who presently works for the Recording Academy, which is famous for its Grammy Awards, was highlighted for the role she played during the week of activities which led up to the big night. Well, 284 Media spoke to Kyra in an exclusive interview on how she felt about the Virgin Islands getting recognition at the awards, with the likes of herself and others such as Tyron Thomas, Massey Harris of the United States Virgin Islands, who both won awards on the night.
When you see people doing these things, you believe that you could do it too. And I think being on a small island so far away from the mainland, we have to experience these things through TV. You have to watch other people do it. And I think oftentimes you don't even believe that that could be you one day, that you could be in the room watching live like I was, because there's this like mental barrier. And so seeing people do it who from the same couple square miles as you, I think now breaks down that mental barrier. And you're like, oh my God, Kyra left from the Grammys. Tyron just won Record of the Year. If they could do it, I could do it too. And one of my goals, because I'm still at the very beginning of my journey in entertainment, in content production, in social. And one of my personal goals is really to increase Caribbean and by extension Virgin Islands representation in all the things that I create.
Well, Kyra also spoke about her most memorable moment from the 65th Annual Grammy Awards.
It was definitely watching Beyonce make history. I'm a huge Beyonce fan, of course. I mean, why wouldn't anyone be a Beyonce fan? I think we were both really looking forward to seeing her make history that night. And the moment it happened, everyone stood up immediately. And so it was like goosebumps. You couldn't stop screaming, you couldn't stop clapping to see this Black woman who has worked so hard get the accolades she deserves. So that was definitely the highlight, along with seeing all the performances. And as a producer, watching the parts you don't get to see on TV, the sections of the stage moving, how they handle all of that, I think seeing it from inside the room and taking mental notes as a producer myself was really interesting as I apply those things into producing my own events one day locally. It was cool to see that too.
Well, the former Carrot Bay resident who now resides in Los Angeles, United States of America, also spoke on how her approach to dealing with the many celebrities on the night that she would interact with.
I was working a lot of the week, so like I said, I'm glad I was able to experience Sunday just as an attendee, because all Recording Academy staff get complimentary tickets to the show. So the other events where I was actually working, you kind of have to switch certain parts of you, right? Like I can't approach people as Kyra the fan. I'm at work, so there's a certain level of professionalism that comes with that. And so you're really happy, but of course you have to keep it professional. I'm huge fan of Chloe and Halle. And so getting to interview them, getting to interview legends like Smokey Robinson, getting to meet Stevie Wonder is definitely super exciting. But I can't just be like, oh my God, can I get a picture? I can't be like that. I have to be professional.
Well, viewers, that full interview can be viewed on all 284 media platforms from tomorrow, Thursday, February 9th. Well, that's all we have for today's news roundup. Be sure to follow us for daily news updates at 284media.com and like us on Facebook at 284media and 284BVI on Instagram and Twitter. I'm Kamal Haynes. I'll see you again tomorrow. Have a safe and wonderful evening. Bye-bye.
So you're saying I can ask this cat any question?
The cat is connected to the computer. You just type in the question, it will read his mind. There the answer comes.
You're the man! I've been looking for this for weeks.